Hi, Nick McQuaid here to go over the syllabus for hcin 620 for fall 2016. Just begin at the beginning. There's first an important note about the latest version of the syllabus. And if you take a look here, let me see if I can find my mouse cursor somewhere around here. This is the latest version will always have a date on it. Well, all versions will have a date on them. The latest version will have the latest date on it. If someone uncovers a discrepancy, which is quite possible, it's very easy for there to be a discrepancy, particularly because I like to provide information in more than one way. So I provide the same information that's in the syllabus or some of the same information that's in the syllabus on the My Courses site. And anyone who knows anything about information systems knows that when you provide the same information in multiple forms, there's a chance for these forms to get out of sync with each other. So it's very important to, if you see a discrepancy, to let me know as soon as you can. And I will try to rectify it as quickly as I can, put it in the syllabus, update the copy of the syllabus on My Courses as quickly as I can. Okay, so then there are the details of the course. So you can go over these details as well as I can, but let me just emphasize a few things. One is that you must have experience with a prototyping tool. And by a prototyping tool, I do not mean Java or C# or something like that. And when I say a prototyping tool, I'm referring to interface design prototyping tools like Sketch by Bohemian Coding or InDesign, or there are many, many such prototyping tools. So you should have already been constructing prototypes using one or more such tools. And that's not going to be taught in this class. It's just simply going to be expected that you can do that. And if you can't, you really should not be in this class. You'll be dragging down your group members, and you won't be getting really adequate value out of the class. So that's very important. Then there's also a co-requisite. That's the same as a prerequisite, except that you could take it at the same time as well as having taken it in advance, which is hcin 610. Let's see, what else do we have here? So there are the particulars about me. You'll notice that the final exam says TBA, which stands for to be announced, and that exam will occur at whatever is the scheduled exam time. They typically don't put out the scheduled exam times before the semester begins, but the Institute puts the scheduled exam times on SIS a few weeks after the semester starts. And we'll simply follow that schedule, whatever it is. And so you'll need to be able to take the exam roughly at that time. Now, because this is an online class, we won't be convening for the final exam. You'll be taking the final exam remotely. And it's possible, for example, the final exam time. Oh, you know what? Come to think of it, the final exam time may not actually be listed for this class ever because it's an online class. I think sometimes I've noticed that the online classes don't have a specific final exam time listed. So and what happens is that some of you are RIT on-campus students. Some of you are in the workplace in other cities. So if I were to pick any 2-hour period, the final exam periods are 2 hours. If I were to pick any 2-hour period, that would be problematic for some of you. It would be during your working hours. So what I'll probably do is just pick a 24-hour period and ask you to write the exam for 2 hours during that period. And I'll set it up in My Courses so that once you start it, a timer will start and you'll have 2 hours to complete it. But that will be during the final exam week, which is after December 9th. I think there are a couple of days of a break there, and then the final exam period starts December 11th or 12th, something like that. Okay, my office hours, 9 to 11, Monday and Wednesday, but I'm certainly available at other times. You can always email me or pop by or try to reach me on Google Chat. Okay, the next item in the syllabus is the description. This description is the description that appears in the course catalog, so it has to, it's updated maybe every decade or so. So you'll notice some anachronistic terminology in it. And I'll attempt to use more contemporary terminology, and I attempt to keep the class up to date. But this does provide a sort of general guideline for the class. Okay, and then there are two sections called objectives. There's objective skills and objectives concepts, and this is the really most important part. The objective skills read like a chronology of your activities in the class. So first you're going to form a group, and so you're going to have to develop skills in forming a group. Then you'll have to do iterative design, and that will include design, prototyping, and evaluation. As part of that, you'll have to do contextual inquiry, you'll have to construct personas, you'll construct a low-fidelity prototype, a high-fidelity prototype, and evaluate a high-fidelity prototype. So you have to do all of those things as part of your milestones. And so it's an objective of the class that you develop a skill doing all of these things. I'll ask you to do a lot of sketches, so sketching designs quickly and with facility. Solving generic design problems quickly in an ad hoc group is important. I should mention that because this is an online version of the class, by the way, this class is taught both in an online and an on-site version. And in the on-site version, it's quite easy to form ad hoc groups during class and to ask you to solve design problems that way. That's not so easy in an online setting. Some of you are remote, and it may be difficult for you to form ad hoc groups. My hope is that you'll be able to, but if you can't, some of you may end up having to work alone, which is suboptimal because group work is important. But if you're taking this from your office 1,000 miles away and you don't have good access to other group members, then that's potentially a problem that we just can't overcome. Let's see, so you'll have a group project over the course of the semester and the ad hoc groups. So in the project group, we'll construct a website that will communicate your semester-long project. And you should work, your project should be for a client whose constraints are not under your control. So this sort of reads like a list of the things that I expect you to do during the semester. The concepts refer to the concepts that are in the readings. So this reads like a list of the readings. The readings are in a, well, let's look at material, because there is no textbook for the course, but there is, it says readings that are required are available online or in my courses. So there is a file called lecture-notes.pdf, which is, the title of it is Study Guide, and I refer to it both ways. I should probably unify on one of those names. That's all the material that you're required to read. There is other material. Actually, I shouldn't say that's all the material you're required to read. There is other material. That material is either referenced in the study guide or will be referenced on my courses. And I'll explain more about that later. But in any event, that is the reading material that forms this list of concept objectives. I do expect you to keep a notebook. Now, this is all for the on-site version of the course. For the online version of the course, the requirement is the same, so I guess I should go over the on-site version of the course. So I expect you to bring a paper notebook to class every day and be prepared to turn it in frequently. In fact, actually, nowadays people have really good cameras in their smartphones. So what I expect is for you to take pictures of the pages and put them in a Dropbox. And that is what you'll do in the online version of the course. The notebook should be the size of this notebook. This is called a Moleskine Cahier notebook. In the on-site version, I want it to be this size, which is 5 by 8.25, simply because it makes it easier to collect it and grade it and so on. But there is also another reason for me to want you to use a notebook of that size. So even though I won't actually see your notebook in the online version of the course, I'd still like you to observe roughly that size. And the reason is that there's a difference between the work that you do on paper that size. The human hand only has so much variability. The number 2 pencil only has so much variability. There's a huge difference between an 8.5 by 11 notebook and a 5 by 8 notebook. So, and I specifically, this is very important what I say here. I only want you to write or draw in the notebook. And especially I want you to draw. Some people tend to write too much and draw too little. Lots of students come here with plenty of writing skills and really needing to enhance their drawing skills. And so it is tempting to communicate in the way in which you have the most facility. And so resist that urge and really try to mainly draw in it. And absolutely don't do what I had this one student who wanted to web surf and then take screen captures of things that he saw that he liked and paste those into his sketchbook. And that's just completely not what I'm asking you to do. And there's a reason for this. Students who have taken this course in the past occasionally write to me and tell me all their opinions about a lot of things. And one of the things that comes through most strongly is that they are happy they had to use the sketchbook because they have a huge amount of ad hoc sketching to do in their jobs. It's a very, very frequent theme, ad hoc sketching in their jobs. Usually it's not in a book, it's usually on a whiteboard, but it's ad hoc sketching. And cutting and pasting stuff that you liked from a website is not a substitute for that. It may be auxiliary to that, but it's not a substitute for that. So I very much want you to draw, to sketch, and to use a small notebook to do this. So the requirement I say is the same, except that you have to photograph it. Well, that's what everybody does these days anyway. They photograph them. They photograph their notebook pages with their smartphone. That's overwhelmingly what people do. And most people submit very clear, detailed photos. I don't mind. You can submit as large a file as you want, and I prefer clarity. Is much more important than worrying about the file size. So use a size that lets me see all the detail in your sketchbook. I occasionally have students who submit blurry sketches, blurry photographs of their sketches. And what I've found is usually they do the worst work. Their sketching is the worst. And I don't know if there's a connection here where they aren't paying much attention to their sketching, and so then they don't pay very much attention to the photographs that they take. But somehow there does seem to be some connection between terrible photographs and people who are the most challenged to do sketching. So really try hard to get clear photographs of your sketches. Yeah, it is still helpful for you to adhere to the size guidelines. This makes it easier because, yeah, I want comparable page layouts and page size. So what I'll do with the sketches is collect them into a PDF. And if they're all, portrait and that kind of 5 by 8 proportions, then it becomes easier to thumb through the PDF and look at all of your classmates' sketches. By the way, you should expect everything that you turn in to be visible to your classmates as well as to me. Don't turn anything in that you think you don't want your classmates to see. And in fact, don't turn in anything that you, just don't turn in anything that you don't want your classmates to see. So you should have a phone or a tablet with a camera or some means of photographing things. This is obviously easier in the online version of the course because you're probably in your workplace and so you don't have to remember to bring a phone to class or a tablet or whatever that has a camera in it. That's very important. I won't teach any specific software packages. I have had students complain about that and say that they would like to learn specific software packages. We have access, you as RIT students have special access to lynda.com, which provides detailed tutorials on every software package that you could imagine. That's not the purpose of this class, and in fact, it's not the purpose of any graduate level. Learning software packages isn't, or at least I hope it isn't, the purpose of any graduate level courses. Learning a specific software package is something you can do on lynda.com or on YouTube for that matter. Although you're probably viewing this on YouTube too. Okay, let's see. So yeah, and software changes from time to time. So the software that was really popular a couple of years ago is completely forgotten today. So there's no point in institutionalizing software into the class. You use what works best for you, and you let your classmates know what you use, and you observe what it is that your classmates use. And it's fine to use the flavor of the month software. It's just not fine to institutionalize it into the class. Okay, so here's the schedule, and this schedule corresponds to the study guide that I mentioned. This schedule corresponds to sections in the study guide, and these are week numbers. So on week number 1, we're just doing the introduction. Week number 2, we're talking about the background radiation of the HCI universe, and so on. Here's the graded work, and these are the weeks. So there are 17 weeks if we include the final exam week. And so I've listed for each week what the graded work is that's due. And you can see that for most weeks there's some graded work due. And if you look closely, you'll see that it varies from exercise to milestone to exercise to milestone, exercise, milestone, so on, roughly like that. There is a period here where there are several exercises and no milestones because you have a very lengthy milestone to work on during this period. And this is the fraction of the grade that is allocated to each of these. Okay, so here are some policies. I have had issues with policies, I'm sorry to say. I had a student who cheated and then claimed that the policies weren't clear or something like that. There was some issue about that I didn't go over the policies, or he was absent that day, or he didn't care, or whatever. I don't know what the deal was. He's certainly not in GCCIS anymore anyway. So this is very serious. I mean this very seriously. Okay, and that's about it. That's the end of the syllabus, and I look forward to communicating with you. I guess I can't say to seeing you, but I look forward to communicating with you throughout the semester. Thanks for your attention.